You're listening to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number 155. Welcome to the Balanced Educator. We're your hosts, Kaylee
and Josiane from Educalme. Our intention is to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life.
Hello there and welcome. We are so happy to have you here with us today. Is choosing the right resource for teaching mindfulness and social-emotional learning in your classroom stressing you out? With so many options out there, it can be overwhelming to choose the best one to meet your goals. So in this episode of the Balanced Educator Podcast, we are hoping to help you simplify this process. We are going to be sharing the outcomes, benefits, and the evidence behind the Educalme social emotional learning and mindfulness program to help you decide if this program is the right one for you. So first things first, what is Educalme? Educalme is an evidence-based, online social-emotional learning program for K-12 classrooms that helps schools take a systematic approach to meeting their well-being and academic goals. So Educalme reduces stress and anxiety in both teachers and students, reduces burnout, and reduces behavior problems. Educalme will improve self-regulation, so the ability to manage one's own emotions in a healthy way. It'll improve mental health and academic success. So the way that the Educalme program works is that the teacher will sign up for an Educalme membership. Then they just sign in at the start of the day and press play on the daily lessons. So these lessons are about 5 minutes long. The teacher gets to learn alongside their students. So they don't have to be the expert to be able to use this program. There's just a short 15-minute training video to help teachers to get started with success. So this training video just covers how to set up the routine in your classroom, how to explain expectations to students, how to navigate the website, where to start with the content and how to move through the content throughout the year. So really short and sweet, to the point training that's going to get you started off with success, but no additional training is required. So the routine with Educalme looks like coming into your classroom, signing in, having a routine with your students where they sit in the position that you've asked them to sit in, and then you just press play and you listen to the audio with your students. Once the 5-minute audio is done, you can choose to have a discussion about it, incorporate what they've learned into your morning meeting, have some quiet time afterwards for students to reflect, or you can just jump into your day. So the intention is that through the course of the year, with listening to these 5-minute audios every single day, that you and your students are building these really great skills that are going to help you with self-regulation, with emotional regulation, emotional intelligence, all sorts of things that are going to really support you as a teacher and support your students as a learner and just as humans in general. So some of the benefits of the Educalme program specifically are that it supports classroom management. So it really simplifies that classroom management aspect of the job of being a teacher. So Educalme proactively supports classroom management, saying proactively, we're doing something to not just react to negative behaviors, but instead to instill skills that support positive behaviors in the classroom. So Educalme proactively supports classroom management by increasing self-regulation. So students are learning self-regulation skills and practicing it every day. You know, when you're learning how to play a sport, if you just read about the sport or someone tells you about the sport, or even if you're just watching the sport on TV, that's not going to make you good at that sport. You're not going to increase your skills unless you're actually physically practicing the sport, unless you're actually going into the gym and bouncing that basketball, shooting that basketball, and having a coach to help guide you in ways so that you can improve your technique. So that's what the Educalme program does. It has you and your students actually practicing in your body self-regulation practices, skills, activities that teach your body and your mind how to actually do this physical skill. So with the Educalme audios, you're doing that practice, and it's providing strategies that can be used throughout the day to restore calm and focus. So in those 5 minutes that you're learning something with your students by listening to the audio, maybe you've learned a breathing strategy that day. Well, later, when you recognize that, the control in the classroom is kind of wavering or students are struggling to focus, then you can come back to that strategy that you learned and implement it. So maybe it's a breathing strategy that takes 2 minutes, and then you do 2 minutes of breathing after recess, and then you jump back into the lesson. So it's giving you as a teacher this toolkit of practices that you can just bring into your day really seamlessly to support classroom management. And because your students are learning alongside you, they're learning these skills as well. They have that vocabulary. So when you're saying, okay, I'm noticing that it's hard for us to focus right now. What strategy can we use to come back to calm and focus? And then your students know the strategies that they've learned. So they can say, hey, let's do 5-finger breathing together. And then you all do it together. So you're kind of becoming this coach that helps to support them in their behaviors rather than just reprimanding or disciplining. You're learning to recognize the signs of your students being dysregulated and proactively using strategies together to create that regulation again so that students are calm, focused, and ready to learn. Now, another benefit of the Educalme program is reduced worry, stress, and anxiety. We could all use a little more calm in our lives as teachers and students. More and more, stress and anxiety is through the roof for both students and teachers. So it's so important that we are physically practicing things throughout the day that help our body come back to a relaxed state and manage those levels of stress, anxiety, worry, those types of things. So again, if we're thinking about this as a sport, people can tell you all they want that you need to practice self-care or you need to, you need to practice mindfulness to manage your stress. Well, you can hear that a lot, but that's not going to actually reduce the levels of stress in your physical body until you're actually sitting down and doing an exercise that does that helps you to regulate your nervous system. So with the Educalme program, you and your students are actually sitting down, listening to an audio that's guiding you through a physical practice that is lowering those stress hormones. So Educalme is a trauma-informed year-long program that allows students and teachers to co-regulate. So you're regulating together with these daily self-care practices, and you learn concrete strategies for emotional wellness and mental health. Now, we are being told as teachers, left, right, and center, practice self-care, practice self-care, practice self-care. The reality is our body naturally is going to come in and out of the stress response throughout the day. That is how a human body works. When a stressful situation comes up, our stress hormones go up, and that puts our body into a state that allows us to respond to that stressor. Now, the problem is that oftentimes as teachers, we have so many of these stressful things coming in that we're kind of stuck in that stress response for long periods of time. So what we need to do is work self-care into the system. That means working it into our daily routine in the classroom. Self-care isn't something that we need to be doing just on our alone time. It's something that we need to work into our day so that we can benefit from the clarity of mind that we get when our stress hormones have been reduced and we are in a calm and focused state. And the same is true for our students. They have stressors throughout the day. when they're stressed, it's really difficult for their brain to learn new things. So when we can do a practice that is physically guiding them into a state where they can lower those stress hormones and have their mind and body back into a state where they're calm, focused, ready to learn, then we are making so much more progress. But we have to actually physically practice it. So the Educalme program creates this system for you. It creates this routine for you that allows you to just work this into your day. It becomes natural. It becomes normal. It becomes part of your schedule. And you're ensuring that at least one point, for most teachers that use Educalme, they're actually doing this practice more than one time during the day. So hopefully a couple times during the day, you're taking 5 minutes or even 2 minutes to just bring your body back into calm. And that's going to really pay big dividends in the end for yourself as a teacher and for your students. So Educalme is a proactive and systematic approach for preventing both teacher and student overwhelm and burnout while increasing resilience. So we can't totally take stress out of our lives. That wouldn't even be right. It's really important for our body to experience stress. It's just part of being a human. It's part of our physical response, just like breathing, just like digesting. It's all part of the experience. But when we're stuck in stress for long periods of time, that's what leads to burnout. So we just want to incorporate a systematic approach for practicing these self-care practices throughout the day in small, manageable practices. You're not setting aside an hour for self-care. It's just 5 minutes, easy to work into the day. So we're just making it part of our routine to lower the stress response and therefore prevent the long-term effects of stress, which is burnout. And so, of course, that increases our resilience. We're better able to manage the stressors that do come up because we aren't always stuck in stress. We're kind of fluctuating in and out, swinging back and forth in a normal way that our body is meant to do. Now, another benefit of Educalme is that it is evidence-based. So a third-party evaluation was done on Educalme, and it demonstrates that this program improves self-regulation, emotional intelligence, resilience, behavior and classroom management, focus, and academics. So teachers can implement Educalme with confidence, knowing that it is backed by research and created by teachers who understand the realities of the classroom. And it has been shown to produce results that are very useful in the classroom. That's what we're looking for, right? Improved self-regulation, improved emotional intelligence, more resilience for our students and teachers. We're looking for better behavior in classroom management. We're looking for more focus, and all that leads to improved academics. So, when you're starting a new program, you want to make sure that it is shown to have results, because you don't want to put in the effort of using a new program or the money of buying a new program if it isn't the right fit for you and if it isn't going to produce the results that you're looking for. So this evidence shows that this is what Educalme does. So if those are the results that you're looking for, then this might be the right program for you. Now, another benefit of Educalme is that no preparations or professional learning are required. So this program is created by teachers who understand the lack of time, the lack of resources that we have in a classroom. Now, haven't we all, with best intentions, gone to a professional development learning seminar or workshop or training, and we did this full day training, and then we come back to our classroom with stacks of stuff that we learned and intentions to implement it into our teaching because it's important to us. We took the time to do this training because it's something we really wanted to do. But then once you get back to your classroom, you have 1,000,001 things on your plate, and oftentimes you never actually start implementing this thing that you learned how to do. That's just the reality for lots of us as teachers. Or it can take years for you to really build this into your teaching, because it's up to you to create the lessons. It's up to you to figure out how to connect it to your curriculum. And so it's a ton of work, and what's holding you back isn't the how much you want to do it. What's holding you back is lack of time. So we really, really paid attention to that in the creation of the Educalme program so that teachers can get started right away. They don't have to be the expert first, and they don't have to do any prep. It's literally sign in, press play, do the practice with your students. So Educalme does not require professional development ahead of time. So that means you don't need release time. You don't need to be out of your classroom. You're not lesson planning for a sub. And then once you get back to your classroom, you don't have to do any lesson planning or preparations to be able to implement the program. So this makes Educalme a very affordable option in terms of money and time. Your school isn't paying for a sub. You're not paying your time in preparing for a sub. And then there's no costs of training that come with some other programs. So teachers get to learn alongside their students from day one by pressing play on the pre-recorded lessons. Now, Educalme is also completely bilingual, and lessons are recorded in a Western Canadian French accent. So this can make it easier for French immersion students to understand the program. Now, for those of you that just teach in English and you're like, I don't care about French, no worries. The program is in both English and French. You can flip between the two languages from anywhere on our website. If you're only using the English, that is totally fine. But for those of us that teach in French, it can be really hard to find French resources that are good quality and that use a French accent that isn't from France or from Quebec. Now, of course, French learners, French people that are from France or Quebec would definitely be able to understand the French accent that we have, but sometimes in locations where the majority of the population is learning French as their second language, it can be difficult for them to understand a speaker that has a very sort of thick accent. So this is one benefit for those of you that might be teaching in a Western Canadian French immersion situation. Now, if you teach in a French immersion setting, this also means that with this program, you have access to all of the content in both languages. So you can flip between English and French if you'd like. We have a lot of teachers that when they teach in the younger grades, they like to use both the English and the French lessons so that the students can learn it or hear it in both languages, and it helps it to really sink in a deeper way. And if you're just teaching in French, you can just use the French. If you're just teaching in English, you just teach it the English. So you have that flexibility. So again, the main benefits of Educalme is that it simplifies classroom management. It helps to reduce worry, stress, and anxiety in both students and teachers and prevents burnout. It is evidence-based and backed by research. And no preparations or professional learning are required to start using the program. All right, now what do you get in an Educalme membership? What do you get in this program? So you're going to get ready-to-use audio, video, and printable social-emotional learning lessons for the entire school year. So with the full membership, you're going to have enough content to listen to an audio or watch a video every single day for the whole year. You never have to do any prep. You know that every day when you get into your classroom, you have a lesson ready to go. So we have a variety of themes that we move through the course of the program. So some of the themes include mindfulness, focus, kindness, compassion. There's growth mindset, emotions, self-confidence, gratitude, and mindful movement. So these themes are taught through a mindfulness practice. So in the audios, in the video, we are guiding the listener or the watcher through a mindfulness practice. But within the practice, there are learning outcomes associated with a few different themes, a bunch of different themes, really. So in some of the themes, we're doing the mindfulness practice and they're learning about mindfulness. So they're learning how to pay attention to the present moment on purpose. They're learning why that's important. In another unit, through the mindfulness practice, they're practicing how to focus their mind. They're practicing how to notice distractions and refocus. So they're learning this physical skill, practicing the sport of focusing the mind, practicing kindness and compassion through these mindfulness practices, learning about emotions. How do emotions work in our body? Physically, biologically, how are these emotions working and how do we manage them? What are some things that we can do through breathing and thinking that can support our management of our emotions? Growth mindset. So through the mindfulness practice, they're learning how our brain learns. They're learning that it can be difficult to learn new things, and that's normal, that's natural, and that with practice and repetition, we grow over time. Self-confidence. So looking at yourself through a positive lens and talking to yourself with kind words. Gratitude, how to look for and find the things that are great in our lives. It can be so easy to notice the negative, but we can train our brain to seek out and pay attention to the positive in our lives. And that's what students really do through this practice. And then, of course, mindful movement. How do we move our body in a way that makes us feel good, that helps us to kind of manage those times when we're feeling fidgety or stretch our muscles when we're feeling tight? How do we focus while we're moving our bodies and move in an intentional way, where we're really mindful of how that movement makes our body feel? So all of this, so much learning throughout this program, and it all is through these just daily 5-minute practices. So it isn't this overwhelming thing where you're taking a full 20 minutes, 30 minutes to teach a lesson. You're just incorporating this as part of your daily routine, which yields results over time. Now, the Educalme program comes with a free 15-minute training video on how to use Educalme with success. So it teaches you the basics of how to kind of set up the practice in your classroom, how to set expectations with your students, tips and tricks kind of thing to make sure that you are having the most success right from the get-go, how to navigate the website, how to select which themes that you want to use and in what order. So quick 15 minutes and then you are ready to go. There's no additional professional learning required. Now, I want to share some great testimonials that we have gotten from an administrator, a teacher, and a student. We always get amazing feedback. It fills our hearts so much because this is why we do what we do. But first, I'll share one from Amanda. So she's a school administrator. She said, "We have significant positive changes in our students after focusing on mindfulness this year using Educalme as our guide. We saw students be more aware of their emotions, practice gratitude daily, and independently tap into breathing strategies. We look forward to using Educalme again next year." And then we have Annette, a grade 5 teacher, who said, "Words cannot express how grateful I am to have discovered Educalme. My group is very impacted. So many students have experienced traumas that nobody should endure. Then the pandemic. Our school was virtual for almost 2 years, so self-regulation was a must, and this has helped our class so much." And then we have one from a grade 4 student who said, "Mindfulness with Educalme lets me get out of my feelings I don't want through breathing, moving, and reflecting rather than taking my feelings out on somebody else and maybe hurting them or making them mad." Oh, So nice to see a student be able to express that they are learning self-regulation. That's exactly what it is. Recognizing your emotions and then having a strategy to use in those moments so that you are ensuring that you are responding in a way that will make you happy and that is supportive to the people around you. So I hope that this episode helped you to better understand the Educalme program and consider whether it's the right fit for you. Now, if you would like to try the program out for free, you can absolutely do that when you go to our website, educalme.com. You can register for the free trial. Now, the free trial is going to give you unlimited access to the first unit of the program, the Start Here theme. So that's going to give you that 15-minute training video and some other resources that can be helpful for you as the teacher as you get started. And then it'll give you the Introduction to Mindfulness unit. So that is the first unit of the program to use with your students. You can use this forever. It never expires. And check it out. See if it's the right fit for you. See if you feel that it will help you to reach your goals in your classroom. And if you find that it does, you like the flow, you like how the routine works for you, it fits for your students, then you might want to sign up for the full membership. So a full membership to Educalme is going to get you access to all of those different themes that I explained, and you're going to have enough content to have an audio for the entire school year. So you'll have an audio for every single day. You'll have those videos and then printable resources that you can use to connect to your regular teaching curriculum. So these are student booklets that you can print out and you can choose to use them. So maybe it's a writing activity or reflecting activity. We have lots of posters, things you can put up around the classroom to remind students of the strategies that they're learning, things you can put up on the board while you're listening to the audios or put up to kind of springboard a discussion together about what students are learning in the audios. We have some really great projects in these different themes. So all that additional printable content is totally optional. You can use it if you want. You can leave it if it isn't the right fit for you. We just try to provide a lot of stuff that can be useful for you to help you meet your goals with mindfulness and social emotional learning. But it's those 5-minute audios that are the key, the core to the program and what produce those awesome results that I talked about. Now, so to sign up for the free trial, or if you want to purchase a full membership, go to educalme.com. That's EDUCALME. Now, if you want to learn more about the research and the evidence behind the Educalme program, listen to episode 154, the episode right before this one. And in that one, I go into detail about the research behind the program, what went into the development of the program, and the third-party evaluation that was done on the Educalme program to show that it is based in evidence that this program produces results. So to learn more about Educalme or to sign up for the free trial or to purchase a full membership, go to educalme.com. That's EDUCALME. Again, EDUCALME. All right. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. We appreciate you and the awesome work you're doing in the world. If you enjoyed this episode and got value from it, we would love it if you would share it with someone that you think will enjoy it too. Thanks again for being here. Have a wonderful week.